Hello everyone, great to have you on the channel here, MeteoMark's Weather, and welcome to the channel. We're going to be looking at the effects of another landfalling tropical storm here, Debby, as it moves into the Carolinas, producing lots of flooding and then up into the mid-Atlantic and the Northeast for later Thursday, Friday, and early Saturday. We're going to be looking at which areas stand the chance of seeing the worst flooding concerns as we go through the next couple days. And total precipitation, heavy rain amounts out of Debby over the next couple days could be staggering over parts of the Carolinas, upwards of 8 to 12 inches locally higher, and even more accumulation of rain as we continue up into parts of the mid-Atlantic and the Northeast, widespread 3 to 6 inches with locally higher amounts to 8 inches in some areas. And behind Debby, well out here in the Atlantic, we got a very large area of circulation over the next couple days. That'll be heading west. Could we actually see some sort of tropical storm or hurricane form out of this? Models are kind of hinting so. Let's get into it. Here's the three-dimensional satellite view of Tropical Storm Debby. Yes, it has got a lot of dry air around it, but look at all of its convection to the north here and on the east side, all these feeder bands. You can see it's still a very large circulation here sitting off the coast that's getting ready to make landfall and push all this moisture northward. All right, starting off with the European model here, you can see what's going on there is Debby just off the coast strengthening once again before it makes another landfall here into South Carolina and North Carolina. So yeah, we did have an area out here into the Western Caribbean and Gulf. That is no longer a thing, but we're going to be watching this big old system out here. So let's just dive into Debby really quick here. And we're going to take a look and see the storm as it plays out. So looking at the European model here, you can see, of course, as these systems become extratropical, they move most of their moisture inland here, and that's going to be moving up the spine of the Appalachians as we continue in time. So this is Thursday here. So there it is across western North Carolina. And as we head into Friday, you can see where the higher end returns are here. This is the path that Debby is likely to take, and it's just to the north and northwest of that center of circulation that we're going to see that heaviest rain. There it is across central Pennsylvania. The thing is with the European model, it starts to take a harder right turn as it gets a lot of dry air sucked into the back end of the storm. So that might actually be some good news. It helps accelerate the storm out of here. Look at this. Let me just go back through the timeline here. This is 8 p.m. on Friday evening. Now watch this. We get towards 5 a.m. on Saturday morning. Look at it. It's all the way over here in western New England in the Hudson Valley and the eastern Catskills. And then by 11 a.m., it's all the way up here in Maine and New Hampshire. That is crazy fast. That is crazy good, though, because that's going to help push this system way up here into the Canadian Maritimes, and that is a welcome sight. So hopefully we can keep the major flooding to a minimum. There's still going to be flooding. I am not going to let you off the hook, especially interior areas here, right around the I-81 corridor on westward here, especially the left end of this envelope here of the red area. And then we're going to turn our attention. I'll show you on the GFS what I'm expecting with Debby, but I wanted to show you this. Look what's happening as we head through August 10th here. We get some more shower and thunderstorm action just east of Jamaica here, Puerto Rico, but your attention's drawn to this big wave out here. Watch what starts to happen. And the GFS really blows this up, but the European model is still showing that we're going to have some sort of system out here. There's a little wave down here well south of Jamaica, but look at this. As we get towards August 12th here at 5 a.m., that's a pretty big wave. This is going to be bear watching. We got plenty of time to watch this. European model starting to really blow this up. Of course, over the island of Hispaniola, you encounter the mountainous terrain, but right on the other side of Hispaniola, European model's blowing this up into a potential hurricane. The only good news is, at least on this run, I caution you, this is 240 hours out. There's going to be a trough coming off the East Coast by then, so this could help deflect this system out to sea, but we still have to get past Bermuda out here too. Don't forget, before we continue, if you love the video, smash that like button. It really does help. Question or comment to keep our weather conversation going. I'd love to read your questions or comments. And don't forget, subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, bell notification button, so you're alerted with all my future weather updates. Let's continue. I'll briefly show you the rainfall maps. We'll look at these more in detail later on in the video, but you can see widespread 4 to 8 inches, locally higher in many of these areas. And zooming right into the northeast, I'll show you this more in detail later on, but yeah, there's the axis of the heaviest precipitation. Widespread 3 to 5 inches, locally higher 6-inch plus. Flipping on over to the GFS, what is going on here on this model? Well, we've got a problem up here in western North Carolina on Thursday. So you're going to be waking up to some heavy rain and potential flooding. Look how fast this is moving, though. This is 8 a.m. on Friday morning. Yeah, you're going to be looking pretty grim up here into central Pennsylvania, northeastern Pennsylvania, the southern tier of New York, the upper Susquehanna River Valley especially. Harrisburg, you're going to be right on the edge, so please stay tuned. I still think you could see some flooding problems, but the worst of it might end up being to your northwest here. Oh, wow. I really have to slow this down because this is 2 p.m. This is where you're really in the thick of it here into north-central Pennsylvania and upstate New York. This is really intense rainfall, so I am really concerned that some areas could approach 6 inches or even eclipse it. But look at the GFS. This latest run is actually showing the back edge of the precipitation all the way into the western Catskills and Poconos. If this actually verifies, this could help cut the totals well below the 4 to 6 inch range, more towards the 2 to 4 inch range, which you'd still have flooding going on, but it wouldn't be near as bad. This also pushes it up here into northern part of New England. So as we continue to go out here in time, look how fast this is. Let me show you the timestamp. This is 2 a.m. Saturday morning. So you're going to have some heavy rain. You're not completely off the hook here into parts of New England because the GFS, I'll show you momentarily, is showing some real heavy rain here. But look at this. Look how fast. Debby's remnants are way up here in the Canadian Maritimes by 8 p.m. on Saturday. Behind it, there's not much to talk about. Thankfully, we're going to clear it out for the most part. And look it out here. This is our next problem that we're going to be looking at that's on our radar. Another big wave out here by the Cape Verde Islands. Now watch and see how this unfolds. So we head towards the 12th here at 2 p.m. Here is the Lesser Antilles. Right here is Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, and there's our ball of convection. This actually does look like a very tightly wound small system. It's not medium or large, but as we approach 11 p.m. and 2 a.m. on the 12th and 13th here, look at this. The GFS is intensifying this into a hurricane. Now, I know you saw a hurricane down here, Hurricane Beryl, that went through Grenada here, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines here, as well as Barbados. This would be further north, although I caution you, this is the 13th, so this is getting 150 hours out. Here's Puerto Rico. If you're in any of these islands, please stay tuned because the trends have been showing, including with the European models I just showed you a couple minutes ago. This shows a landfalling hurricane on the 14th in Puerto Rico. So take it with a grain of salt, but the potential is there, and then continuing off towards the Dominican Republic here by 8 p.m. on the 14th. All right, so as we continue here with the GFS model, look at this. The Turks and Caicos here. This potential hurricane, I caution you because we're just looking at this. Right now, it's basically eye candy at 186 hours out, but I just wanted to show you this because the trends are pointing towards this. This shows a major hurricane barreling through the Turks and Caicos on the 15th and 16th. And look at this. The GFS takes this further west than the European model does. Look at this. Last couple images here, you can see it bogging down over the Bahamas. And you can kind of see why it's bogging down. The same reason the European model starts to recurve it, although this shows the trough further south and the high pressure further to the north behind it. So that kind of blocks the system. So we're going to have to wait and see. We have plenty of time to watch this, but it is a troubling trend that we have here. So looking at the GFS here, you can see what's going on. North Carolina, Western Virginia there, up to Pennsylvania and New York, and Southern Quebec. These are the areas we are watching. There's even a little area over here in Western part of New England. We're going to keep an eye on this because some of these areas could flood very bad. And then as we get into the northeast here, zoom in on this. There it is, the axis of the heaviest precipitation. It's been slowly trending westward here. There's that area across western New England, so we could have some of these feeder bands on the east end. But most areas in this area of eastern Pennsylvania, southeastern New York through New England will be in the 3/4 to 1 1/2 inch range. But there it is, all the way up the I-81 corridor, especially west of I-81 in New York and Pennsylvania. These areas could see 3 to 6 inches with locally higher amounts, so please heed those flood watches and warnings. This goes all the way up into southern Quebec, by the way. And if we zoom in here on the Mid-Atlantic, you can see there North Carolina getting the lion's share of the heavy rain, especially inland. That's going to continue to promote serious issues here. Major flooding issues, so please heed that. The good news here is eastern Virginia, eastern Maryland, up through southeastern Pennsylvania, you're really gonna luck out here, so to speak. So still an inch to an inch and a half, 2 inches in some areas though. And here we go, flip right over to the European model. We'll show you, there it is. So the European models come more in line here with the GFS. You can see right there, a little bit more into South Carolina as well. Look at these 4 to 6, locally higher amounts to 8 inches. This is troubling here, all the way up here into eastern Pennsylvania. We'll zoom in on that momentarily. But the Euro has been, once you get up into Pennsylvania, has trended a little bit further to the east. And here we are, we get into the northeast. This is what we're looking at so far. Not so sure what the European model's doing here. Taking a hard right turn here into northeast Pennsylvania, but this is a trend we'll have to keep an eye on because this is troubling. This is a 4 to 8 inch band here in some of these areas, 4 to 7 inch, I should say. So yeah, and then continues up here into upstate New York, but this does not let the upper Susquehanna River Valley off the hook here, this model run, because this isn't, this is just one model run. Please stay tuned. Things are subject to change as we draw closer to the event, but I really do think, many areas along and west of I-81 here are going to have some, issues. And we pan out nationally here to the European model. You can see pretty well run of the whole East Coast here, just really heavy rain. Look at that. We have some heavy rain out here with some strong thunderstorms out here in the Central Plains. Now, looking at our future radar here, I'm going to do this segment wrapped right into our tropical outlook. Look at this storm as it unfolds on Thursday. Here's the feeder bands moving right into Wilmington. So look at as it make landfall again, right around just northeast of Charleston here. It's going to be close. It's going to strengthen just below Category 1 hurricane. The big thing with this storm is the heavy rain, and look at the big ball of moisture. It's got feeder bands all the way down through the Bahamas here, and it's going to continue to spiral northward here as we head through 9 a.m. through 11 a.m. on Thursday, the 8th. Look at how it just moves inland towards just west of Raleigh, towards Greensboro here. This is just going to continue northward and cause major issues here as this feeder band just feeds up to the northwest and northern side of the system. This is 1 a.m. on Friday morning, the 9th. So this is where it starts to really accelerate, thankfully, but we're still dealing with a lot of this heavy rain on the north side. You see a lot of it missing Harrisburg. It's going to be a lot of this is going to be just west of Harrisburg, but I do caution you in Harrisburg, because you're going to be right on the edge. This is really going to give western Maryland here, parts of West Virginia. We get towards Cumberland here, Chambersburg, Hagerstown, Winchester here. These areas just east of Pittsburgh. Look how close it's going to be to you. But I think most of Pittsburgh will be, mostly dry. It's going to cut off very abruptly to the northwest. But look at these areas up through State College, Lock Haven, Williamsport. Look at this torrential rain. This is towards 3 p.m. on Friday, and it really starts to impinge on Binghamton and Wilkes-Barre, Scranton here. And look how it moves in right around the rush hour. So you might have a lot of flash flooding going on along and west of the I-81 corridor by this point. And I think, this model's handling it very similar to the GFS, maybe just a little tad to the west. And this is looking pretty good as far as model consistency. But by 8 p.m., this is some really good news. Look at, just like the GFS, the back edge of the precipitation is through the I-81 corridor with just a few leftovers here. But look at the Adirondacks down to the Catskills into the Hudson Valley, and then down through New Jersey, this might end up feeling more like a line of convection rather than, a big, long, drawn-out rain event here. So you're still going to get some beneficial rains. Thankfully, they're not going to be so bad that you're going to have some major flooding everywhere. You're still going to see some flooding concerns in some scattered locations, so please stay tuned for that. But as we head into August 10th here at midnight, here it is as we get into right around the 2 a.m. on Saturday morning. Look how far this has progressed to the east. Well into New England, the eastern tip of Long Island, and way up here into Quebec as well. There's going to be a severe side to this as well. This is the eastern quadrant of the system on Thursday. So we're going to be looking at this area, especially this yellow shaded area from Jacksonville, North Carolina, Goldsboro here, all the way up to Richmond, Raleigh. There's going to be some tornado action here, especially on the eastern side, or any of these storms or gusty showers could get 40, 50, 60 mile per hour winds going here. So I wanted to make you aware of that on the eastern side. You might not have the tremendous flooding going on the eastern side, but the severe weather is going to be a thing. And here we go, marginal risk here on Saturday. Still think, Friday night's going to probably be the big, point here, but this will probably be upgraded to slight risk. It's going to be on the eastern side of the remnants, Delmarva Peninsula all the way up to Philadelphia, Allentown, Lancaster, maybe as far west as Harrisburg. New York City, millions of people are going to be affected by this. So, yeah, you're not going to see like the tremendous 3 to 6 inch plus rains up like you will up here by the A81 corridor. But you are going to see these feeder bands that are feeding in on the east side of this that could contain tornadoes or damaging wind gusts as well. So watch out for that. I wanted to show you the eastern side of the storm because I focused the last couple minutes so much on the western side where all the flooding is going to happen. There are those feeder bands coming in. As we head throughout Thursday, you can see we're going to be looking at some severe weather here across eastern North Carolina, up towards Richmond as well. So watch out for some tornado threat, damaging winds. Some of these showers and even storms could contain damaging wind gusts, 40, 50, 60 miles per hour really easily. These get cranking, even the Outer Banks here towards 11 a.m. on the 9th. So as we get into Friday here, and watch out, some of these stray cells, especially from Harrisburg on eastward, Philadelphia, New York City, Scranton, yeah, you're going to be looking at some of these cells here developing even into the Catskills, Poconos, the Hudson Valley. We could see some of these try to rotate as well. So some isolated tornadoes, you can't rule this out. And then as that heads eastward, so this time frame's 4 p.m. on Friday afternoon here into parts of New Jersey. That's where the threat's going to be into downstate New York here as we get towards the evening hours, 10 p.m. on Friday evening. That's when things are going to get really bad, and these move towards eastern Massachusetts and Connecticut as we head towards 2 a.m. on Saturday morning. Thanks to Tropical Tidbits for our product analysis of the mid-layer dry air here. There you can see Debby moving up the Appalachians at this point off Friday, August 9th. Up here, look at this. A lot of dry air across the eastern Caribbean. There's that big, strong tropical wave, and also the other one here riding low across parts of Central America. We're going to continue to watch this dry air across the Central and Western Gulf too. There is Debby. Look at that. You literally blink from Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Look at Debby's all the way over here on later Saturday. That is crazy. That is good though, because that trough, see this dry air moving right here and behind it? That is kicking Debby right out of the picture, and that is some excellent news here. Unfortunately, there's still going to be a tremendous amount of rain, so please. Friday is probably going to be our worst day in the Northeast, but look at this as we head towards Monday, August 12th. You're actually looking for a lot drier air up here, but look at this. Look at the GFS here, showing a 987 millibar hurricane approaching the Lesser Antilles here. So this is something we got to keep a close watch. Another strong wave out here, and look at out by the Cape Verde out here. Another strong wave, and look at this. Yeah, the GFS riding this towards in the direction of Puerto Rico here. That is not good news at all, but we still have plenty of time to watch it here Wednesday, August 14th. And let's get over to the European model here. There is Debby riding up through the mid-Atlantic Thursday into Friday, starting to accelerate. There it is, going a little bit further west here, but look at the same idea here. Still that tropical moisture into eastern New England Saturday, August 10th here in the morning. But there it is, Debby getting kicked out. There it is on Sunday. That is crazy that this low is just becoming very elongated. All the moisture is pushed well off to the east here. That is really crazy. And then, of course, the low pressure system gets displaced way up here into northern Quebec. So there you have it. It just becomes a long, drawn-out low pressure system. The rest of the tropics here, there's the Cape Verdes, there's that big system, another system here across the northern coast of South America, Central America, still remaining showers and thunder showers, and some dry air here moving through the mid-layers at Jamaica and the Cayman Islands. But look at, it's actually showing up here as well on the European model, that big, strong tropical wave, not showing up as a hurricane like the GFS, but really showing up very strong here. So this is a signal we're going to have to keep very close watch on. And then the European model really starts to develop it and move just off the East Coast, as it looks like we have a lot of dry air helping deflect this system. So that is some good news. Now, if we take a look at the Caribbean here, what is going on here, Central America? Look at this. So we got another tropical wave moving through Central America the next couple days. And then as we get into next week, here is that bigger tropical wave that's going to be impacting Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Haiti here, Eastern Cuba, and then the Turks and Caicos here of the southeastern Bahamas. Yeah, some of these areas could be getting upwards of 100 to 150 millimeters. That is 3.5 to as much as 7 inches of rain. And getting into the Eastern Caribbean here, you can see as this is approaching the 12th, August 12th, the 13th, into the 14th here. You can see it moving through the central and northern Lesser Antilles towards Puerto Rico here. And then as we continue, it takes a hard right turn in this direction. Could this be a fish storm or an East Coast storm? Well, we'll have to continue to watch this very closely, but you can see the pattern here on the precipitation outlook. All right, so picking up where our NAM 3-kilometer future radar left off, there we go. Debby is out of the picture. What do we have to talk about behind Debby? Well, we've got an area of low pressure. I'll talk about this in my Canadian forecast momentarily in a couple moments, but look at the high pressure building in behind it here. This is some great news. Cooler temperatures, I'll show you that on my temperature map in about, say, 6 or 7 minutes from now, later in the video. And look at this. This is shaping up to be a really nice week across eastern North America. So that is some great news. We will have to watch out as we go out here in time, because our big system with the tropics showing up just off the coast of the Bahamas and Florida here. But look at this. Still continuing dry through the 15th, and a lot of you will need to dry out here across the east. Now, you're going to see increased tropical moisture here. You can see the tail end of a frontal boundary in this region, so we're going to spark some showers and thunderstorms. Also, here across the plains as well, we could be dealing with some severe weather. Now, look at this as we go out here in time. The Euro is very optimistic here. High pressure with the, that little trough kicking this system off the coast. So high pressure blocking behind it in this trough off the U.S. East Coast with that stalled out frontal boundary may help to deflect this system to the northeast. Canadian weather forecast here. What is going on, Canada? Hopefully we can get you some beneficial rain. And look at here across Ontario here towards later Thursday night. There is some shower and thunderstorm action that is going to be happening. And then it kind of fizzles out here and heads towards Ottawa and Montreal as we actually get some moisture from Debby. Look how far it moves to the north here by 5 a.m. on Saturday morning. That's going to be your heaviest moisture here through Montreal and Quebec. I'll go over those rainfall totals momentarily with you. But look at this. That system moving very fast. So you only get maybe like 6 or 7 hours of rain out of this before it moves to the northeast. And look at here. Things become extremely quiet across the northern North American continent here of Canada. Look at this. We do start to get a trough developing out west here. That's some good news. Get you some rains for those wildfires. But look at the far eastern provinces here, with the exception for a little upper level low that moves southward here on the 14th and 15th. High pressure is going to be in control here. We do have a system that pushes a warm front through parts of Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Western Ontario here. So watch out. Might spark some stronger thunderstorms here, especially out into the plains areas. But that pretty much fizzles out as it moves into an area of high pressure, and we keep that dry pattern continuing. And look at this. Lucky for you, Canada. I just got the latest European model hot off the press here. Look at this. Sunday. Oh, this takes us through Sunday. You can see parts of Ontario up here, central Ontario, upwards of 80 to 100 millimeters. This is great news. But look at the moisture coming in from the United States with the remnants of Debby. Southern Quebec and parts of southeastern Ontario could see upwards of 80 to 110 millimeters, getting average of about 2.5 to 4 inches of rain. Beneficial rain. Unfortunately, out here where the wildfires are going, not much to speak of. Western Pacific, what is going on out here? Let's take a look and see. We actually have a tropical storm. This is Tropical Storm Maria here. So we're going to be looking at this unfold. It's going to become a typhoon, probably going up towards, say, 85 to 90 miles per hour with higher gusts. It's going to be affecting, brushing eastern Japan here. The eastern prefectures here could actually see some of this action. The good news is by the time it starts to veer towards northern Japan, it's going to be a much weaker state here. You can see towards the 9th into the 10th, paralleling the Japanese coastline here. Here is Tokyo. And then as we zoom in up the coastline here, we have Sendai and Kamashi here. So these areas here into the northern provinces, or shouldn't say provinces, prefectures here, could actually experience some of these outer bands. And you're going to experience a lot of wave action, so be safe here. Don't go out in that. Going to be a lot of riptides. Now, the rest of the tropics out here, Philippines, you're going to continue to see that monsoon moisture. Looking a little drier here from Cambodia, Vietnam, Thailand, and all the way up through eastern China here. So we're going to look for the prospect of another area of low pressure here. Watch this just east of Taiwan. Here it is on the 9th. This is going to try to blow up into something. It's going to kind of sit around here. Here's another area of low pressure. So these areas of low pressure south of Japan really trying to fire up into something here. You can see another one right where Maria is essentially, and then another one just south of it. And that tries to form into a typhoon by the 17th. We have plenty of time to watch this, but could this become a typhoon? And look how close it is to the Japanese coast. And before we continue, don't go anywhere. I got plenty more weather for you. Take a look at these awesome maps from my affiliate. I am proud to announce that I am now an affiliate with Trilogy Maps. TrilogyMaps.com, bringing you the most digital, customizable maps found nowhere else on the internet. These maps are simply stunning. It's an advanced layering system that makes these maps great for making forecast maps with ease or any other maps that you would like to display important information on. The resolution on these maps is simply amazing. From the detail of everything here in the States, and you can also create stunning, digital, professional layered maps from also across the entire world. And don't forget, in checkout, the discount code option, use my code, MeteoMark, hit apply, and you will get 20% off your order. So if you want the most professional, customizable, and affordable weather maps found nowhere else on the internet, look no further than TrilogyMaps.com. Link in the description down below along with your discount code. All right, so let's take a look at our temperatures here as we go throughout the rest of the week. You can see Thursday, August 8th up here. There is our day and time. You can see here, we're going to be looking at a lot of warm air here surging up through parts of the Ohio Valley, 90s, but look at where it's bubbling up from, Texas here into the triple-digit heat. But look at this, we have 60s up here into parts of the Midwest and lots of 70s as well. Watch what happens as we go out here in time here. We're going to watch this cooler air get rid of a lot of this tropical and hot air as we head into Friday, and here's Saturday. Look at 70s all the way down to Oklahoma, parts of Kentucky, and all the way up here into parts of the Northeast. We're pushing those 90s and 100s down towards the Gulf Coast. And as we get into Sunday here, look at these 70s. Lots of comfortable air. It is going to feel like a breath of fresh air as we get into Monday. Look at this. This just looks beautiful. Still sweltering across Texas here and parts of the West and much of the Southeast here. But it's even cooling down a little bit in some of these areas from what it was. But as we continue here into Tuesday, August 13th here, it still remains very comfortable here across the Midwest, Great Lakes, and the Northeast. Extended outlook from our hometown viewers, Binghamton to Scranton, Upper Susquehanna, River Valley, New York, and Pennsylvania. This is what we're looking at here. Thursday, we see the clouds rolling in Thursday night. The rain moves in. This is with the remnants of Debby. We are going to be looking at rainfall amounts on the order of about 3 to 6 inches here, depending on where you're at. Locally, higher amounts can be felt as well. So these rivers are going to come out of their banks, as well as small streams and creeks. We could have some flash flooding. Some areas could approach that 6-inch mark. A lot of areas 3 to 5 inches across the Susquehanna Valley. So watch out. Heed those warnings and advisories, please. Thankfully, this system really starts to move to the northeast Saturday morning, so this will be out of here in a sunny skies. A big drying trend and much cooler temperatures are ahead next week. As always, thank you for joining me for this edition of MeteoMark's Weather. Also, don't forget to join me on Facebook at MeteoMark, also Weather Northeastern, also Twitter at Weather Eastern. Don't forget it's MeteoMark.com, and don't forget, if you want to send me a coffee, there is a link, Super Thanks. You can smash that Super Thanks button or my PayPal link in the description down below. You can buy me a cup of coffee. Thanks, everyone. Share that video. Subscribe if you haven't. Smash that like button.